Quilts and Other Happy Accidents. I'm Sherri. I'm glad you're here with me today. Today's going to be about some strange things I found in my sewing room. I was cleaning and getting one mess cleaned up so I could make a new mess after I had done some quilting, and I was attending to my machines, and it occurred to me I had some really unusual items in my sewing room. Maybe you have unusual items. They're very useful. They just weren't what they were intended for to begin with. I'm going to start with this one. This is one of those little hot pads that kids make on a loom. When my granddaughters were younger, I got them one of those, and we learned how to weave the hot pads. And they sent these to me actually for Christmas. These are Chiefs colors, no less. And I do use them not as a hot pad, but as a place to store my coffee mug. And keep the little drips and drops away from all of my stuff. That's important. Maybe not so unusual. You've probably got something like that. Let me start with something that I've had for a long time, early on, and I had read this tip in one of the quilting magazines. They were talking about all the rulers and things that we have and how are we going to store them. Now, I've seen the videos where people have things hanging on the wall, and that's great, but just not my style. So I went to the office store and got one of these file holders. And it's absolutely spectacular for holding rulers. It doesn't take up much space. Look how many you can stack here, and then you can find them easily. So that one's kind of cool. Then I came across this. Anybody want to guess what this is? Or what it was intended to be? That's right, it's a tackle box. But not in my house. In my house, this was my solution for all my buttons and baubles. For holding pencils and extra rotary blades and widgets and whatnots. It works great. And while I'm here, I'm going to show you something else. Because of course everybody has a measuring tape, right? But I also keep a measuring tape like you would keep in your garage. Because once my quilts get to a certain size, it's really hard for me to measure and see where we are. Now, in a perfect world, we could do the math and we would know what they are. In the real world, they don't always work that way. So I keep a carpenter's ruler in my sewing room to help measure my quilts. And since we're in the garage and looking at unusual things, see this? Now they sell something that looks a lot like this in quilt stores, but that's not where I bought this. I bought this at the hardware store when I was working with wallpaper. This is the wallpaper sealer. You know what else it's good for? Finger pressing and just doing that little bit at the sewing machine so you don't have to stop and iron all the time. So there you go. Maybe you've got something in the garage that you could use. Okay, I do have to show you one of the more ridiculous things. Now, my sewing machine doesn't always hold these large size of threads, okay? It just doesn't work well. So I took my coffee mug that has my scissors and ink pens, and I turned a screwdriver upside down and stuck it on it, and then set it on the floor so that the thread could roll off easily. It worked great. And what do you know? I don't have to do that anymore. I finally bought my very own thread stand. But for years and years, it was a screwdriver in my pencil holder. All right, here's something that might strike you as odd. It might not. I don't own a stiletto, but I need a stiletto for curves and for corners and things like that. What was my solution? An orange wood stick. You can buy like 10 for $3. You've got the little pointy end over here. You've got that flat edge over there. It works great as a stiletto, and I have 2 or 3 of them here in the drawer. And guess what? If I can't find them, I just go get another one out of the bathroom. No big deal. All right, here's one. Oh, I want to do this one next. This is a handy dandy pool noodle. And this was not my original idea. I will not take credit for thinking of this. However, I am going to share it because I think it's the coolest idea ever. When you have a quilt top done and you have it all pressed and laying on whatever surface you lay it on, roll it up on a pool noodle so that it doesn't wrinkle. Haven't you ever noticed that when you fold them over and put them in the box until you're ready for them, when you get them out, you have to press them again? This saves the step. There are some other people on YouTube that take it even a step further than that, and they use like 3 noodles, one to do the backing, one to do the batting, and one to do the top. I haven't graduated to that yet, but I am storing quilt tops on a pool noodle, and it really works nicely. Not bad for $2. Okay, last but not least, remember I told you I was cleaning. So I use the little brushes and everything that come with the sewing machine to help keep them clean, but there's always that little bit of lint right behind the whatchamacallit that I can't get to. So I bought a computer vacuum. It's rechargeable. It has this little brush on it so you can get in behind the bobbin and under the gizmos. And you'd be amazed how much lint you can get out after you think you've already got your machine clean. I don't know if you can really see this lint. That was off of one of my machines after I thought I had it clean. So, you know, they're not powerful, they're not perfect, but they sure are good at getting the dust bunnies. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Crazy things that I have in my sewing room that I use, and I use a lot. If you like it, give me a thumbs up or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.